Well, this might be the weirdest half of football we've gotten so far for a Saints game. What's up, everyone? Welcome inside our halftime show here from the Straight Up Saints podcast. As always, our halftime show is powered by 4D, and we want to remind you guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting here at Booker Media, make sure to like the video, subscribe, so we have our post-game live stream later, and you can share your thoughts, but you can also share your thoughts right now in the comments, and I'll pull them up periodically as we get closer to the second half. But I'll just share some of my quick thoughts of what has been a weird game. I mean, 9-5 is the equivalent of a baseball score, like a pretty decent high-scoring baseball game. I think 9-5. I don't think of a football game. Yet here's where we're at. So let's start off with some positives. That final drive for the Saints kind of moved the ball pretty well. I think that needs to be what they do going forward. The getting to Chargers territory was an absolute chore this entire first half, and it felt like everything was third and long, running the football on third and long, not trusting the rookie quarterback. And finally opening it up right before halftime makes me feel like if the Saints just do this and still lose, I can live with the result of them just letting it rip and seeing what they could do in a downfield passing attack rather than them play this really lethargic style offense where they're trying to grind out plays in the run game. And when it doesn't work and it's third and long, they kind of concede the drive with a run. I've counted a draw play on 3rd and 16 and a run up the gut on 3rd and 15. So none of that. Like, let's stop doing that. And if you don't trust your quarterback, then you change your quarterback. But you got to let them just try and be a bit more aggressive in the passing game moving forward. That would be my first thought for this first half. Not enough aggression till that final drive. Got to get more kind of manufactured touches to Chris Olave. I think Olave obviously is by far away your best passing weapon. Got to get him the football more. I think you see when he gets the ball in his hands, you have those kind of explosive plays in the passing game. Find a way to get 12 the ball a little bit more. Defensively, look, they've done some good things. I think run defense has been a little bit better for the most part. I think the main key for them, though, can you contain Justin Herbert? There's been a couple of plays where you feel like the Saints are going to get that sack and make the big play, and all of a sudden, Justin Herbert kind of leaks out of the pocket and takes off with his legs. So, to me, that is the key. I think the defense has been infinitely better today with Pete Werner in there, and a lot of the returning players today, Pete Werner, Taysom Hill, Chris Olave, they've played a big factor, which is a no-brainer. They're some of the best players on this team, but I think you got to find a way to slow Justin Herbert down as a runner. That's been maybe the most surprising part of this first half, is that Herbert's really taken off with his legs a lot. I know Herbert is a mobile quarterback in terms of having that athleticism, but he's had a bad ankle this year. He's not known for his running. The fact that he's the Chargers' leading rusher, Saints have to do a better job of that. But overall, I mean, this game is still for the taking, but a lot of ugly football, I'd say, so far, which is part of the reason why it's 9-5, like I said. So let's get into some of your comments here, guys, and we'll go from there. Forgive says, why let go Jameis just to have 2 rookies on the roster you literally accept defeat with, even with the commentary saying Clint is being way too conservative, as if we aren't 2-6. Well, 2-5, could be 2-6, depending how the second half goes. Yeah, that's one of my big complaints, right? If you don't trust your quarterback, you got to have a quarterback in there who you feel like you can trust. And if you don't trust either, just fucking let it rip. Like, at this point, before this last drive, the furthest the Saints got, I believe, was the Chargers 47, which, by the way, they punted on 4th and 1 from the Chargers 47. I thought that was so stupid. But anyway, we'll keep going. Forgive says, Blake Grupe having a bounce back year. He's been good for the most part. Yeah, I mean, no real complaints about Grupe. JW says the Saints quarterback of the future is not on this roster. Carr's not the guy. Rattler's not the guy. Might as well play Taysom Hill at QB. I mean, that would be fun. Margaret says, put Haener in. This is awful to watch. Rattler needs to sit and watch like Haener did. Don't tell me about the O-line. They're doing well today. It is a really big struggle watching this offense. Now, I tweeted before, Saints need Derek Carr back in, and people kind of thought that I'm saying Derek Carr's the savior for this offense. You guys know where I stand on Derek Carr. He is an average quarterback at best, but the Saints right now are having a below average quarterback in, and that isn't a total knock on Rattler. He looks like a quarterback who's not ready for the moment, and that is okay. But it is like uphill sledding, and that's why I said the last drive of the first half, where you're kind of doing no huddle and you're not putting too much on his plate, and you're just saying, hey, go out there, hit the open man, kind of let it rip. I think that's what you got to do. And if it comes with more mistakes from Spencer Rattler, I'll live with it. What I can't live with is watching another 30 minutes of this offense. 5 points, just really, really anemic offense. That's what it's kind of been. Tobias says, I said if this team only had 2 points at halftime, I was turning this BS off. Looks like I'll stay put, but the conservative play calling as a 2-5 team is ridiculous. Max says, I've seen enough. Put Haener in Aquarius says Haener time. Jacob also says, at what point do you go with Haener? P.S. I miss Derek Carr. Look, to my point before, Derek Carr is a frustrating quarterback to watch at times, but he is right now the best quarterback on this team, and that's part of the reason because they don't have a great quarterback room. Tyler says, I hope they let Rattler play the whole game like that last drive. I hope so too, Tyler. I mean, it's been tough watching football prior to that last drive. Carl says this is straight garbage. RC says people blame the QB when it's coaching. Same shitty head coach for 3 years and you can't get nothing out of the team. No QB can save us with a trash coach. I don't disagree on that part. I mean, coaching is a big problem. And, that was going to be one of my big complaints before this final drive where the Saints were able to get 5 points. Your first drive, when you get to Chargers territory, and it's 4th and 1, you had Taysom Hill back. 4th and 1 in Chargers territory, run the football, like to punt it there. And, of course, Hayball has a nice punt that ends up hitting the pylon and it ends up being a touchback anyway. So you really didn't flip the field. You flipped it 26, 27 yards, like big whoop. Max says 9-5, Dodgers-Yankees final score. That's what it kind of feels like. Joshua says current score represents the type of job Dennis Allen should be working. That's quite good. Eddie Kings 21 says at least the Pelicans play in 15 minutes. Yeah, I mean, that's great for you guys. And hopefully the Pelicans put on a better show. I'd be shocked if they didn't because it's not hard to put on a better product than 9-5 football. And that's an indictment on both teams. And I said it coming into this Sunday. The reason I felt like the Saints would be in this game, Chargers aren't very good either. I know they have a good coach and a good quarterback, but they don't have explosive playmakers. Defensively, they're still trying to figure what they're going to be out. And their best playmakers defensively for the most part are old. It's not a great roster there in LA either. So it's been, as Wholesome Webb says, a wacky game, man. Wacky game. Forgive says Dennis Allen teams are literally never fun to watch. You can almost predict every play of these games. I agree. Trey Gift says way too conservative. Lady St. Irvin says, if we have to play this conservative for Rattler, then play Jake. We lost 5 effing games. We need a W. Yeah, that's the question, right? At what point do the Saints say enough is enough? We got to make a change. We got to change up whether it is the philosophy or the personnel, right? But if they come out of this second half, because they're going to start with the football, and it is flat again on offense, it's the same kind of 2 runs and a throw, or a run, a throw, and it's 3rd and long. Let's just run it again. What the hell's the point? Like, why are we watching this game if that's what they're going to keep doing? So hopefully they switch it up because it's been really rough. El Mendoza says, I refuse to let the Saints ruin my weekend, those afternoon games. Yeah, that's why I like the early afternoon games, by the way. Kind of get this shit out of the way with the way they've been playing. Max says Haener makes Rattler work harder and vice versa. Put in Jake and things will flow faster the way they should. And if Jake comes out or they want to put Rattler back in, then he'll play faster too. Goonie says they need to let Rattler play effing QB and stop being scared. I'd hope so, man. I'd hope they just let him rip, let him just make some throws. Like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But this is not working, so you got to start adjusting. And the adjustment part comes on coaching. Like, either you trust the guy to play, and if the answer is no, put in someone else. Or if you do actually trust the guy, then what the hell is the play calling? So I think personally the Saints don't trust him, and that is why they're doing all this conservative play calling and kind of coaching scared. But again, if that's how you feel, just make a difference, make a move. Like, I'm telling you guys, 30 more minutes of this and people will like check out on the season because you'll fall to 2-6 and you'll just be the most boring team in the league at this rate. Louisiana Sports says we're going to come out running 2 plays in a row. I bet you're right, man. I bet you're right. Chad says, so they had their third stringers in and they let him throw 45 times. Starters come back and they go conservative. Yeah, that's a great point, Chad. Make it make sense, right? No Olave, no Shaheed, no Taysom, and it's like a Thursday night game or a Tampa Bay game, and they're like, yeah, let's throw the football all over the place. And today, just really lethargic. Max says, when you match up 2 very similar teams and have a drunk officiating crew, this is the game that happens. Yeah, this officiating crew, they don't know what day it is, you know? Reginald says, side note, did anyone see Jameis ball out today? Yes, he did. Which, A, great for Jameis. B, bad look for Deshaun Watson. And, that's not great. Shane O'Mac says, looks like spreading them on offense has opened the passing game. It looked a lot better. DeMonte says, why don't we play Kendre Miller? He needs more touches. That is, to me, it feels like a personal coaching choice. I think there is, that feeling with DA and Kendre Miller where they're not on the same page, and DA's probably still got sour grapes over what happened in the offseason. But Kendre Miller has the most juice at running back for them, and that's including Alvin. Alvin is a better player, obviously. That's not a question. But in terms of just being that running back who's going to make that nasty one cut and keep the chains moving, Kendre is the better option, but they don't really let him show off his talents, and it's really frustrating. Lady St. Irvin says, can we talk about Kubiak forgetting how to call plays? Kubiak's great when everything's working, right? Like when the run game's clicking first 2 games and you can build the play action off that, it's great. How do you adjust? So far, not a lot. And if it's all on Eric McCoy and Derek Carr coming back, then that's also a little frustrating too, because your product can't be this bad. And yet, it is this bad. Shane O'Mac says, Saints not having a legit number 2 is another indictment on the GM and Allen. Fair enough. Ed says, AK always proves he's special. Yeah, some big plays from AK this half. Not even surprised. I mean, the man just does his thing. Lady St. Irvin says, I'm about to watch the Pelicans. I don't blame you one bit. I would watch the Pelicans too if this wasn't, A, my team, and B, my job. But I look, like that's how frustrating this product's been, right? But hopefully the Pelicans give you guys something to cheer about. Max says mirror image teams, but one has a good coach and the other has DA. We know how this is going to end. Probably. I mean, right now it feels that way, right? It feels like it's going to be one of those frustrating losses, and then they're going to tell us we're so close. And I don't want to hear it anymore, right? Like it just gets tiring. Forgive says DA isn't getting fired this year. You don't play this conservative if your job is on the line. I think, see, that's how I feel too. And I tweeted this. He's coaching like someone who has absurd job security. On the flip side, though, you can argue that this is just who he is and he can't change. What are we doing calling run plays on 3rd and 16 and 3rd and 15? I don't know, man. To me, that is the ultimate indictment of like, we don't trust our passing game, so we're going to concede the drive. And to me, I fucking hate that. I really, really hate that. But they've done it twice already on 2 really, really 3rd and longs where you know you're not getting the first down running it. Need to clean up with penalties. A struggling team simply can't give away penalties or turnovers. Yeah, they've had a lot of weird ones, man. A lot of boneheaded penalties. Margaret says, need a spark. Hainer time. YouTube user says, Clint Carmichael, his play calling is very predictable. I mean, that's what you guys are going to start calling him at this rate. DeQuarius says, Saints currently have the longest losing streak in the NFL. The coaching is about to make the streak continue. It is mightily close to that. Let's see how this opening drive goes for the second half, but you feel like the tone can be set early in this third quarter. Nathan Shepard always been dirty, unfortunately. Yeah, that was a Bush League move on Justin Herbert, man. Indefensible. And I think it's actually horrible that the offensive lineman for the Chargers gets flagged, right? He's just protecting his quarterback from pretty much Shepard putting Justin Herbert in the angle lock. Imagine being a young quarterback and knowing for a fact your coordinator doesn't believe in you because of how conservative it's been. NFL, man, they kind of tell you how they feel about you quickly. Margaret says Lions looked awesome today. Trey Gift says Miller needs more touches. I agree. Max says Clint Carmichael, yeah, he has the bones of a good scheme, but it's plain and predictable. I guess that's the name we're rolling with, man. Jose says, people think QB will solve our problems. We need another head coach. That is for sure. All right, this is the last one, and then we'll go. What is worse feeling to have, hate or indifference? I think indifference. I think hate, there's still some type of emotion there. Indifference, once you check out, that's where it gets really tough. That's my opinion. I feel like that, to me, is the worst. So, guys, second half's about to start. We're going to have our post-game live stream here at Boo Crew Media. So make sure once this game goes final, you guys subscribe to the channel. You guys have the notification bell, and you'll be alerted so you guys can join the live stream. We'll have everyone's comments come up on screen. We'll get all your thoughts. So hopefully I see you guys there. But that's going to wrap it up for this halftime edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast, which once again, powered by 4D. I thank you guys for listening, and hopefully I'll see you at the end of the second half.